What's up, traders? It's John Howley from officialjohnhow.com. In this video, we're going to have a look at the ES, look at the Dow, we're going to have a look at some price action patterns, we're going to look at some indicators, what they're doing as well too. And also, I'm going to be drawing some pretty little graphs on this chart, on this whiteboard. So let's get straight into it.
Do not place a trade based on what you're seeing in this video today, because trading is risky and it can cause substantial financial loss. There are so many areas you need to become good at to become a good trader. Emotional mastery, chart reading, trading systems, money and trade management. So this video is just educational only to help you become a much better trader.
Alright, let's get straight into it right now. On the ES and the Dow, we're gonna actually get to the chart segment in a minute, but I want to share something with you that I see that's happening on the charts right now. And I'm not sure whether it's a fake out or a fake breakout or not, but let's actually look at this here. Right now on both the ES and the Dow, what is actually happening is over here, all of them have got very close to or at an area of resistance. Some of them have broke past an area of resistance. Some of them are still at what we call an area of resistance. And this is something that's really important to understand. Is whenever you're looking at a chart and whenever you're looking at identifying a level of support or resistance, it's generally an area. Make sense? So if you're trading the markets and you're looking at the charts, then some people just say, okay, here's a line. This is where support and resistance is. And yes and no. To me, I class them as bands, as areas. So some of them have actually broken past and had a breakout past the line that I actually had there, but it's still in the area. Just call this is the area of support and resistance. So we'll get to the charts in a minute and I'll show you what I mean. But that's the area that I see of support and resistance. Now some of them have actually already broken past that. Now is this here, and some of them actually done this or this here on the actual charts. Now, if it's broken past resistance here just recently, is that a fake breakout? Well, that's what we're seeing on some charts. Some charts were actually running up into that. Now the Dow itself is at this point right now where it hasn't actually broken through. So we're at that point right now. Some of them, like the ES, had a big update as well. Not a big update, but just had a breakthrough that resistance, a nice update. But we're still in this area of resistance. Now here's the thing, is that we're going to look at what we call over here with the STT, which is basically the stochastics. We're going to look at that here in a minute on the charts, but the stochastics are way getting up here. And here's what I have found. If you go back and look at the study, we've got the ES, we've got the Dow, we've got the Nasdaq, and we've got the Russell, okay? The Russell. Yeah, the Russell. Can you guys see that? You can, yeah, cool. So you've got that there, okay? So you've got ES, Dow, Russell, and Nasdaq and Russell. Here's what I found by trading the markets, okay? Especially when back in many years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago now, I was very heavily trading the ES, E-mini, S&P 500, and heavily trading it. And what I would wait for is I would wait for the Dow and the ES. If I was looking to go short, I'd wait for it to rally up into an area of strong resistance. Okay, strong resistance. So if this was a resistance point here, okay, I'd have all my criteria beforehand. It's like I'm looking for a short signal today. And then what I do is I look for the Dow and the ES to have a strong area of resistance. And when they both hit the area of resistance, the probability of that doing that, especially when my daily chart is saying it's more likely to have another down day today, was very high probability. Okay? Now my job was just to be patient to actually wait for that setup there. Now, the reason why I say that is because what's happening right now as I speak on the ES, on the Dow, on the Nasdaq and Russell, not only are they all getting to an area of some sort of resistance, but the indicators are getting to the point now. And this is what I've found as well too, is that if you get all the Nasdaq, the Russell, ES and Dow, and they're all of these are getting to a point where one, the indicators are getting way into the overbought sold, all of them are, and two, they're getting to an area close to resistance, well, we're due for a pullback. I'm not saying we're going to go to a crash, okay? I'm not going to say we're going to go through a bear market. I'm just saying we're due for a pullback. Now, here's the thing. When you're actually trading the market actually goes in cycles, right? That's how the market works. The market runs up and comes down, runs up, comes down, and runs up. It creates higher troughs and creates higher peaks, right? So it's in when the market runs up like this, like it has now, it's in these moments that where the resistance levels and the stochastics combine them together can help you say, okay, this is where the market might be turning and might be having a bit of a pullback. Now, where is this likely to be? When the stochastics goes down here on the oversold level. Make sense? And this is where a nice turning point be, goes back up again, and that's where the stochastic is there. Make sense? So that's where it goes through there. So anyway, guys, that's what I wanted to talk about here in this short video. We'll get to the chart segment now. But once again, guys, on the ES, Dow, Nasdaq, Russell, once they all get into area resistance, then it's a pretty strong counter. So anyway, guys, I'll talk more about this later on. Let's get straight into the charts right now.
All right, traders, so let's get straight into the chart segment. Let me actually show you with you that I see on the screen. Now, firstly, is this a head and shoulder formation? Looks like a potential head and shoulder formation, right? If you see that there, and you can see what's happening through there on that chart, you can see how it's a potential head and shoulder, formation through there. So, so let's actually just take that off. Let's just delete that off there, and delete that off there, and delete that off there. And as you can see, we're actually still in this area of support and resistance. And to me, you know, as I was saying, that there's an area of support and resistance that is from there through to this. This whole area is this support and resistance. So when you can see probably as high as that point through there is the area of resistance. So that's what we're seeing right now. We're actually definitely seeing a nice stronger run than a lot of people have been thinking, and I've been the same, by the way. I've actually been thinking that the market's been I've been thinking that this market has been, I thought we were going to get a lot more downside, but we haven't. You know, we've actually got a lot more upside here. So what I'm saying here, guys, is that we're getting at this area of resistance now. We're getting at this point where we are right now. We had a bit of an update today, and that's where we're at right now. Now you can see that the volume is not as actually high as it was yesterday. So you can see that we're actually still at this area of resistance. We're definitely still below the 200 moving average. And so to me, guys, I just see that we can see that this movement is a bit of a fake out. And if I actually look at the hourly chart, you can actually see here on the hourly chart that it wasn't until the last hour that the market actually really started to climb up and do what it needed to do. It wasn't until it was basically a rumor or speculation. I think it's from the Fed announcement what they like to do. So that's basically what it was, and so that was just a rumor. So to me, guys, I don't see that as anything being special at all. You know, in fact, if you just draw this trend line through there to there, you can see how that's actually through there. We're actually on this bit of a channel through here right now. So to me, guys, we are due for a pullback. The market doesn't just keep going up like this. It does keep going through a pullback, as I was saying before. So we've had this big run up to the high side. I am seeing a pullback coming. Okay, I really am seeing a pullback coming into the market. So that's the S&P 500. Let's have a look at the Dow Jones. Okay, on the Dow Jones we can see. On the Dow Jones we can actually see. Let's just bring this over here. You can see this weekly chart. This is actually the weekly. And the weekly area for this one here is from there and also down through to there. So you can see how the sort of the high point is this whole area through here is the area of resistance on the weekly chart. You can see this what's happening on the weekly chart there. Now on the daily chart, look where the stochastic is right now. Okay, look what happened last time we actually got up to this point up here. Okay, every single time in the past couple of months, and if I show you here, okay, every single time, if I go back to here, actually this point here, okay, this point here was this point here, and then it just kept on running. Okay, so that was the first time. Next time we got up here, we had a turning point, and the market had not a crash, but a pullback. Okay, the market got up to here, and then it slowly kept going up, and then had a bit of a pullback. Got here. Bit of a pullback, got to here, and that was that point through there, and then I had a pullback, and so on and so forth, right? This point through here, and as you can see, so it doesn't work every time, unless the market can just keep going up like it did here, okay? And then funny enough, that was actually in October last year, so funny that. So October in through to November, and then we had a break. So are we likely to continue doing that? We'll soon see, right? So we can see what's happening through there, and you also can see what's happening right now. Like, we are really getting into the oversold level again, and we're at this area of resistance as well too. So that's the Dow Jones. Looking at the Russell is the same as well too. Is that if you look at this here, and let me actually just draw this here, you can see the stochastics getting into the oversold level as well too. Especially the Nasdaq or the Russell's actually making a lower trough, still could make another lower peak and then probably head back down again. So that's actually looking very weak as well. And if you draw and this is one thing that I have been noticing, is if you draw a trend line down through there, that point there is definitely an area of resistance. Now if I draw that through there and bring this down through to here, okay, so draw that through there and bring that down through to there, that point through there. You can see how that's an area of resistance as well. And we've got this area through here, definitely up through there somewhere. You can see how this weekly chart could not actually close below, could not actually supported and ran back up. Look what happened here when it broke down. The weekly chart could not close above it, and look where we are right now. We're trying to close above it once again. And so we're at this chart level right now, and we're at this resistance level as well. So we can see that there. And also moving on to the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq is this very, very, very similar, where you're getting very close to the area of resistance, where the stochastic is as well too. Last time we had a pullback. So as you can see, this is what's actually happened here. So, but looking at last October, you can see, last October we actually had a pullback and then a rally into the end of October, moving into November. This time October hasn't actually been bearish, so I don't think we can class the same as what happened last October, because last October we actually had a pullback, right? What's happened here is that we didn't get a pullback, we're actually getting a rally. So is it going to be the opposite? Are we getting a rally then a pullback? You know what I mean? And maybe move to the downside. Now Harry Dent has just come out and he's saying that we're likely to get another wave back down towards these August lows. Is he true? Is he right? Well, no one knows, and we'll just see what happens. But based on what I'm seeing here right now, guys, on a short-term analysis, we're seeing all the indices, all at area of resistance. We're seeing all the charts right now, especially the short-term indicators, showing that area of weak, showing that area of stochastics as well too. So, guys, and plus also on the hourly charts as well. You can actually see how we just kept going up, and you can actually see, guys, that let me actually see if I can scroll back in time. Like here, right? You can see how the market ran up, and when the market runs up, like this here, and just keeps slowly stepping up, guess what happens? When it does break, it breaks hard, right? So in fact, that was here, from this point through here to the point down there, that was a close to a 4% drop. So where we are right now, if I did a 4% drop, so that'll make it back down toward these lows. But you can see that this area through here, especially this area through, so somewhere around about there is actually a support level. So I wouldn't be too surprised to actually see a 3 or 4% drop back down, you know what I mean? And then we can see other things coming into play. But that's what I do see on the hourly chart as well too. So anyway, guys, that's it for me, and I'll see you back at the whiteboard.
All right, guys, so we're back now, and actually, Alan, we'll do this again. So, you see the charts, right? You see the charts, you can see the Nasdaq, you can see the Russell, you can see the Dow, you can see all those different time frames that I just showed you on that chart just there. I showed you what I was looking at there, and you can see right now, right? You can see how a lot of the stochastics are already in the overbought or getting close to the overbought signal. You can see how a lot of the indices right now are getting to the area of resistance. That to me is saying that we're likely to get a pullback. Now once again, let me get my rubber here for a minute. Once again, let me actually just rub this off here. It's very, very, very important to understand that this is how the markets work, okay? The markets work the markets move up and then they have a pullback, and they move up and then pull back and move up. That's how the markets work, right? That's how the markets work, that's how the markets work and has worked ever since the market started. So we actually have this trough here, we have a high trough, we have a high trough, we have a high peak and high peak, okay? That's how the markets work. Now knowing that, okay, very rarely, now very rarely will you get the market just keep going like this and just keep going up. If it does, well, guess what? We're likely to get a bit of a pullback and then we're likely to continue up. Make sense? So it's if we are continuing in the bull market we've had for the last 4 or 5 years in the ES, Dow, Nasdaq, Russell, etc., then what we're going to, then what I believe we're likely to experience soon is at least just a pullback, to then continue in the upward movement, right? Because like recently we've actually ran up, we had a really good upward movement. The stochastics is getting into the oversold level. We're getting into close to a resistance level, and then we've already had a run up to the higher level. Okay, we've already had a decent run up. Even if we had like a week pull down or a couple of days pull down to get things back in equilibrium, and then a buy back up, then that'll be a healthy market. Makes sense? So, are we going to crash from here? It's nothing saying on the charts at this time, but what I am saying is be cautious. If you're a long-term buy and hold, then be cautious of where your stock is right now, and be understanding of what's happening here, and knowing that we might get a pullback. The overall market is likely to get a pullback over the next week or so, and then if it's going to pick up, it's going to pick up from there. If not, well then what's happened right now, in September we had this big crash, and now we just done this, had a little bit of pullback, and now we've actually pulled back up through here. Okay? That's essentially what it's done. Now, are we going to run down here to August, September lows? Or are we gonna continue up here? This is where we are right now at an area of resistance. So that's what I am seeing right now, guys. That's what I'm seeing on the charts right now. And as we move forward, okay, as you move forward, just keep an eye on these things, okay? I'm using the tools that I trade the market to help me understand what's happening here, okay? It's all about probability. No one knows what's gonna happen, okay? Now someone says they know what's gonna happen, you know. Even people like Harry Dent has been wrong. You know what I mean? It's just like, for fuck's sake, you know, like seriously, like for you people out there that think you know what's going to happen, us traders, all we can do, okay, all we can do is that we can just use what we have on the charts to give us a high probability chance of what's going on. And so I'm using everything I can, from an area of resistance to the stochastics, to obviously the resistance, and looking at all the indices, okay? Looking at all the indices on the chart, that is going to really help you. Now remember what I said before, right? Is that you think about it here, right? The US is comprised of ES, Dow, Russell, Nasdaq, right? And if all of those are in an area of where the market is at resistance levels and we're getting stochastics oversold, then doesn't it make sense? And you know how the markets work by high peaks, high troughs, and we've already had a run up and we're due for a pullback. Doesn't it make sense that we're due and we're likely to get a pullback? Makes sense? And so that's what I'm saying here in this video, okay? It may continue going up, but if it does keep going up, I actually think that, personally, my opinion is that I think that the market will keep moving, that the market is likely to have a pullback based on what we're seeing here, okay? I think what we saw last night, which if you see the hourly chart, when I went through the hourly chart, if you see that chart there, that the hourly chart, especially on the Dow Jones or even on the ES, that it only spiked in the last hour. Actually, the last 2 hours of market action, it spiked based on I think it was a Fed announcement going on through there. Okay, so that was a speculation through there. I think that this is wrong, and I think we're likely to get some good downside based on what I've seen here. Okay, guys? So, anyway, guys, if you'd like to know more information about how I trade the markets, I'm giving away a free trading course and a free formula. There's a link on the top here. I think it's over this way here or this way here. Is it up there? Which way? You see the image. Click on the image. You know what to do. Anyway, guys, I'm out of here. I will see you in the next video. Remember, success can be yours if you go claim it. Oh, and by the way, give me a like, give me a comment, give me a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon. Remember, success can be yours if you go claim it. So step up, take massive action, and face your fears. Woo! Today.